The ability to self-regulate, the ability to assess your emotions, to regulate them, to deal with them effectively and with emotional intelligence is a skill so many of us are unfortunately not equipped with, and it's an integral life skill. Um, Particularly people who have experienced any sort of trauma in childhood or that grew up in any sort of insecure environment. Emotional regulation can become even harder again. So I'm just going to be visiting some of the ways in which you can improve your ability to not let your emotions take over your life. Now, the first up is cognitive reappraisal. Now, this is basically challenging and changing your thought process. Now, can I just start by saying that this is not an easy process? It's never as simple as, oh, just change your thoughts and change your life. It takes a lot of discipline, it takes a lot of commitment, it takes a lot of work, and sometimes it takes a lot of suffering because, our ego is always going to want us to be right. And as well as that, our brain has developed a way of thinking over the period of our lifetime, so it's not going to shift automatically. It really needs conscious effort. And so to start doing this, you first of all have to become aware of your thought process. So you have to start tuning in to the unconscious monologue that's going on all the time, which when you start tapping into it initially, you will be blown away by how negative it is and how derogatory it is towards yourself. The way we speak to ourselves sometimes is absolutely diabolical, but it's about tapping into that. And anytime you come up with a thought that is causing you any level of distress, you need to start challenging that thought. You need to ask yourself, okay, am I absolutely sure that this thought is true? Blah, blah. And if I'm not, how much better would my life be if I turned this thought around, if I was able to challenge it? How much better would the life be of all of the people around me? And the more you can challenge your beliefs about yourself, your beliefs about other people, your beliefs about the world, bear in mind that we don't interpret the world the way the world is. We interpret the world the way we are, And oftentimes, as I said, when we have experienced traumatic experiences or just felt unsafe over the course of our lifetime, and that tends to skew the way that we perceive things. So it's really important that we stay aware of that and that we challenge it on a frequent basis. And that brings me to my next point, and that's mindfulness. So often we're completely future based, or we're thinking about what went on in the past, and it's very rarely that we're in touch with what is actually going on inside. So it's about being able to identify the emotions, identify the mood, and identify the feelings that are going on inside us, as opposed to always thinking ahead or rushing behind, or basically avoiding completely what's going on inside us. We really have to get in touch with our emotional state in order to stop it taking over our lives, because ultimately and that brings me to my next point, mindfulness. So often we have all of these underlying emotions going on that we're either completely avoiding or denying, or we're not even recognizing because we're so focused on what we have to do tomorrow or what we did yesterday, and we never get in touch with what's actually going on in the here and now for us and learn to process it, to deal with it effectively. And as a result then, our emotions, the unprocessed emotions, creep up on us, and the impact on our mood, the impact on our ability to function, and all of a sudden we find ourselves snapping for no reasons or going into a very low state and with no real explanation. So it's about staying on top of these things, exploring what's going on with yourself on a regular basis. Next up is behavioral modification. Is a lot of your behaviors reactive? Are you basically being triggered all the time? Do you find yourself just either lashing out or getting overly upset frequently? And if so, are you acting out on that? How much are your behaviors aligned with where you want your life to be? How much are your behaviors aligned with your values, with the way you want to reflect yourself to the world? And an important way of developing that skill is being able to take a step back, take a few deep breaths, identify what's going on for you, and then assess what the, most appropriate route of action would be. And this develops, quite a considerable level of self-awareness. And this is something that you should be working on all the time. Becoming aware of your triggers, becoming aware of circumstances where you tend to notice yourself becoming quite emotional, getting tuned into what works for you and what doesn't. But it's important also that you develop a sense of humor about things. I mean, life shouldn't always be that serious. You shouldn't always feel under attack. You shouldn't always feel like you have to please others. And it's about being able to step back on how much you're letting your perception of things and your perception of how others perceive you impact on you. Practice being more flexible. We all have this almost rigid need to be right, need for it to be our way or no way. And the more flexible we are with other people, the easier our life is going to be. Develop self-confidence, be aware of your strengths, but also be aware of your weaknesses and accept them all compassionately and work with them to the best of your ability. Also work on your breathing skills, being able to bring the body back down when you've had a strong emotional reaction is so important. So practicing things like meditation, practicing things like box breathing can really, really help you. Also incorporating body scans into your routine so that you're more clued into where you're carrying stress in the body. So that's just a few ideas as to how you can get better at self-regulation. If you'd like any further information, get in touch on the website. It's fundamentals.ie, or get in touch on Instagram or Twitter. Again, both accounts are called Fundamentals. I look forward to hearing from you. And just to note as well, I'm running a workshop in the Maldron Hotel in Tala on the 18th of September, where I'll be covering self-regulation, emotional resilience, stress tolerance, all of these skills. Really, really good evening seminar. So get in touch if you want more details.